Okay. And you guys have probably all heard this before, but actually, we have a couple of guests. So I'm Teresa McDonald, and I'm the club sommelier. So I'm kind of the wine person for the club. And in terms of this session, just to let you know, we are recording this session, but if you do not want to be recorded, you can turn off your video so that you're not seen. But more importantly, you can ask questions. So we're going to mute all of you. I think it's probably already been done. But if you want to ask a question, either of me or Maggie or Andre, just type your question in the chat area. Marilyn's going to monitor the questions. And every so often, if there are a few questions that come up, we'll stop the proceedings and answer the questions. And just to let you know, there are two different modes. In case you're not familiar with Zoom, there's a speaker mode and a gallery mode, and they're different views. So the gallery mode shows everybody, and the speaker mode shows only the speaker. Okay, so you can switch back and forth in your right-hand corner. So I just want to talk a little bit about, so last month we had Penelope and Steve. Penelope was from Henry of Pelham and Steve was from Vienna, and they introduced their wines, and that was, I think, a nice evening, and people seem to like the wines. There are some, no, I don't think there are very many wines left at all that haven't been sold. So coming up, so we were talking about doing a December 20th winter barbecue. You know what? We're in the red zone, just not comfortable doing it. So it's postponed. So stay tuned. If we can do a barbecue, an outdoor barbecue, because we've done them before. We did one in February last year. And even though it was freezing cold, we have heaters, we have tents, we have all kinds of things. And we have a fabulous chef that does wonders on the barbecue. So if we can have a winter barbecue at all, we will do that. But for right now, the December 20th one is kind of postponed because we don't know what's going to happen. January, who knows? We're going to be virtual. I'm anticipating virtual from at least January till June of 2021, but of course we'll play it by ear. Don't know who's coming in January. I'm talking to a number of different agents, but we'll let you know as soon as possible. February, in addition to the regular meeting, thinking about doing a Valentine's chocolate and wine pairing. So Chocolate Tales has different chocolates, and I'm actually tasting them over the next couple of weeks with a view to figuring out what wines go with them. So what I would ask is, if you're interested, like, let me know. I'm not going to put it on if nobody's interested in it, but if you are, you know, send me an email or respond to one of the messages that we send out or whatever, and let me know if it's something that appeals. Anyway, Valentine's chocolate and wine pairing. Which leads me to tonight. So Chef Maggie produced this amazing dinner. She thanked me, but truly I was the chopper. And then Andre Evans from Select Wines is the person responsible for the Barolo. So for those of you that really like this Barolo, which I do, Andre has joined us tonight to talk a little bit about it. Okay. Wine events and promotions, again, so the Burlington Wine Club events, if you go there anytime, you'll see what's coming up. The promotions page. So if any of our vendors have specials or case prices or anything else, we're going to have them there. Of course, we've got the Facebook page, we've got Instagram, and we do have the YouTube Burlington Wine Club channel. And you might want to check it out this month, because in addition to tonight's proceedings, we'll also have a video on the areas where the tonight's Barolo is made. So it's about a 3.5 minute video, and it's really kind of cool. So you might want to see that. So check out the YouTube Burlington Wine Club and see what's happening there. Okay, so I chose 3 wines tonight, even though they don't match one-on-one with each of the courses, the same way as our pairings do. But of course, anyone that knows me knows we need to start with the sparkling. Sparkling is celebratory, but it's also, if you only chose 1 wine for tonight, then other than perhaps the Ossobuco, which is a little bit heavy for a sparkling, but you might get away with it. The Viennese Sparkling Rosé is a robust rosé. It certainly goes with the soup, goes with the salad, no problem. And then the Inniskillin Discovery Series P3 to go with the soup, the salad. And if you're only drinking a white, so I would definitely prefer a red with an Ossobuco. But if you're only drinking a white, I chose this white because I thought it would be one that would actually hold up to the Ossobuco. So if you're only drinking white tonight, I would really appreciate your feedback on that. And then the third one is the Barolo, pretty much to go with the Ossobuco and also the chocolate. If you have a port or you have a sweet wine, or you just want to take a break, I would say with the ice cream and the dessert, skip the Barolo for a few moments and then come back to it with the chocolate. Okay, so that's, and I'll turn it over to Maggie in a minute, and she can talk about the courses. And then in particular, I'll talk about the Inniskillin P3, and we'll turn it over to Andre to talk about the Barolo. Okay. No. I'm going to unshare or stop sharing. Okay. So Maggie, oops, where are you now? You've moved.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Oh, front and center. Awesome. Yep. Okay. So you know what? Talk to us about the food, or at least the first couple of courses of the food.
Absolutely. So I think when I was trying to plan this menu, it being Christmas, I wanted to keep it very comforting in sense of the food, in sense of any ingredients for the actual dishes itself. So salad, I thought, you know what, cranberries, nuts, and pear, absolutely. Now I just finished having this salad an hour ago with the sparkling. I will tell you that sparkling was fantastic. It worked well with the salad dressing itself. The dressing having the vinaigrette with cranberries, a little bit of walnut oil in there. It paired very, very well with the actual vinegar in the wine itself. The soup, cauliflower, again, it's comforting. Saffron and cinnamon. The saffron's very subtle. The cinnamon is a little bit more there, but again, I had it with the P3. And it worked amazingly well together. I love cauliflower soup. Again, comforting food. This is winter dinner. My choice for the actual main course being Ossobuco and it being paired with Barolo. I'm going to be very careful how I use my French here, but it was damn good. The meat, I love Ossobuco. Cooked in wine with the herbs and seasonings and served. I don't know if anybody, I've had it with the mashed potatoes. And the Barolo, it finished off that dish quite well. And then of course, I don't know if anybody's gotten to dessert yet, but I chose a cobbler, again, comforting Christmas winter meal, pomegranates and rhubarb. And I had that actual dessert with the P3, which actually that still even paired well too. So the whole entire meal itself is, again, it just kind of reminded me of comfort, and all the wines that were chosen for this dinner particularly worked extremely well. I was impressed with the wine. I'm not a really red wine drinker, but I was very impressed with the Barolo. Actually, all of them, and I will be ordering them again.
So with the first couple of courses, so sparkling is very versatile. So actually, let me ask you, and you can do a show of hands. How many people ordered all of the wines? Okay. All right. So for those that ordered all of the wines, so you start with the sparkling, of course, the soup, the salad. There's a crossover. The P3 is a crossover wine. You can have it with the salad, and the Barolo, of course, with the meat. I chose the 3 wines because if somebody only ordered the sparkling, it would go with almost everything. Like the Ossobuco, it might be a little bit light for the Ossobuco, even the carrot Ossobuco, but for everything else, the sparkling would work. The P3 is one of my favorite food wines because so the name P3 comes from the fact that it's 3 Pinots: Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Blanc. And most people don't know about this wine. So Pinot Noir, of course, is a red, and it's left on the skins just a wee bit, which is why you get just a tiny bit of color. Pinot Gris, and not a lot of people are familiar with the Pinot Gris. It's the same grape as Pinot Grigio, but the Pinot Grigio is the Italian version, and it's typically unoaked. It's a little bit lighter. It's picked earlier. It's fresher. It's greener. But the Pinot Gris is the French style, and it's a little bit heavier. It usually has a little bit of oak to it, and it's picked later. So it's just a slightly more robust version of the Pinot Grigio. And then the Pinot Blanc comes from typically the Loire, and it gives a little bit more freshness and an uplift to the wine. So for me, and I always drank P3 in a big Pinot Noir glass or a big red wine glass, partially because of the color, partially for the nose, but I just find it works, and I think it's a spectacular food wine, and kind of one of those wines that if you're only going to have one wine, it's going to be, again, just a tad light for the Ossobuco, but it's going to go with everything else. And if you are only going to have one wine with your meal, and you've got all kinds of different things, then the P3 is not a bad way to go.
Teresa,
Sorry.
is the P3 made in other regions? This is the first time I've encountered it, and it's Enniskillen, one of the leaders in the Niagara region. Do you find P3s around the world in other regions?
No. And the P3 is also interesting because it's part of Enniskillen's, what they call their discovery season. So some of the grapes come from the Okanagan Valley and some of the grapes come from Niagara. So they kind of take the best of both worlds, like the hot climate and the cool climate, and pick and choose and produce this wine. So no, I've never seen a P3 anywhere else. Now, that's not to say there haven't been other wines where they combine those grapes, but certainly no one else is known for it. Like, it's not a common blend. But it's a Niagara Okanagan Valley blend that by me is just a really good food wine, and a wine that most people don't know.
Yeah.
Like, really odd.
And is
So
it,
quick question.
Yep.
Do you serve this again, like as a white wine being chilled, or more at room temperature as a red?
Chilled.
Chilled,
No,
okay.
I serve it chilled as a white wine, but in a red wine glass.
Okay.
Yep. Just, it's one of those things.
and we've all come to know that the Pinot Noir is an expensive grape. It's the heartbreak grape. It seems to me unusual to see it in a blend, right? If you're making the effort to make a Pinot Noir, you want to preserve that typically if you're investing in planting Pinot Noir. So is that also your experience, that we see Pinot Noir as a blend?
Well, actually, so Pinot Noir is interesting. So we do Pinot Noir in Niagara very well. There's some other places that, so Oregon, for example, does Pinot Noir very well. Not all of it goes into a pure Pinot Noir. So I wouldn't, I'm hesitant to say the lesser portions or whatever will go into the blend, but that's perhaps true.
Right.
But it's still Pinot Noir, and it adds the oomph and the robustness to this particular wine. In Oregon, they had so much Pinot Noir at one point, they were doing white Pinot Noir. They were making white wines from Pinot Noir because there was a glut on the market and they couldn't sell all the red. So all the insides of grapes, of course, are white. So you can make a white wine from red grapes all the time. And it's just the skin contact that gives it the color. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so people they make different blends, different things, but I don't know. I think they have a winner with the P3.
And we've had a South African night where there was a pinotage. So help us to understand the difference between this P3 and a pinotage.
So a pinotage is totally different. It's a red wine, and it's a combination of Pinot Noir and Andre, if you can remember, it's Pinot Noir and something else. It's a blend, and it's unique to South Africa, but it's a red wine for sure.
Okay.
There's no white in it. It's not. It's unique to South Africa, and it's a red wine. Okay, we can come back to that. Andre, can I get you to talk about the Barolo? So that and so the P3, I think all three wines are great, but the Barolo is the star of our show in the sense that it goes with our main, and hopefully everybody's decanted it or let it open or whatever, because that's the way it's served best. Anyway, Andre, over to you.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. So sorry I couldn't do this in person with you. I believe some of you may know me from last year's tasting, potentially. If not, welcome, and thank you again for having me. So
can you speak up a wee bit, Andre?
Yeah, is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Absolutely.
Sorry. So I'll take you through a quick little history of the wine because this is a pretty interesting story. So the winery was founded in 1958 by Arnaldo Rivera. The man was a teacher and also the mayor of the town in Castiglione.
Yeah.
I think I said that right. So the unique thing about Barolo or Piedemonte.
Julio.
Sorry, guys, can you just throw yourselves
Sorry,
on mute there?
we need to mute all.
Julio. I don't know. I think we're on mute. But
Yeah,
no.
I'm not positive.
Carolyn, we need to mute all.
everyone looks to be muted to me. So if you know you're not, that would be helpful. But
I think it's just art.
Are
There we go. Did it. Sorry, I inadvertently muted you, Andre.
All right, we got me back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. So basically, this gentleman noticed that a lot of small wine growers in the Piedmonte region, where this wine is from, were potentially going to lose their land or have to sell off their land because they weren't producing enough grapes to actually make a worthwhile wine to make a living. So what he did was created a cooperative. And basically what that is a bunch of small growers that have a common goal, and they kind of put all their money in a common pot. So originally it was only 21 growers locally in the Barolo region that were kind of put together to make a great wine. Over time, this grew from 21 local growers to over 300 member families. So now this is actually known as one of the most historic cooperatives in the Piedmonte region. And because of that, it encompasses 11 villages. So if you do choose to watch that YouTube video, anytime you have a moment, you'll actually virtually see all 11 villages in the video. It's kind of cool to see where all the grapes are coming from. It consists of about 600 hectares of land, and they've actually built a 2,200 meter squared facility to age all this wine. And we'll kind of get to that aging in a moment. So I just wanted to talk about the bottle for a quick second. If you guys do have it, it's kind of a neat shape. And back in the 1700s, this was actually a concept they came up with because at the time they were using a lot of Bordeaux bottles and Burgundy bottles, and they wanted something different for that Italian region, especially in Piedmonte. So what they did was they basically made a love child of those two types of bottles, and they came up with this. So on the bottle itself, it says Albazia, and basically that translates to from Alba. So it's a wine of Alba, which is another region in that Piedmonte area. And they embossed that on the bottle itself, just kind of to pay homage to that growing region. In 1970s, this became super popular and is now extremely widely used for wines coming from that region. On the label, it says Vinum Vita Est. So that translates from Latin to English as wine is life. So kind of a cool little tidbit, and that's just at the top of the bottle there. I don't know if you can see it very well. And Terra del Barolo is basically Barolo of the earth or from the earth. And that kind of takes us to the wine itself. So Barolo is the region, Nebbiolo is the grape varietal. So this is 100% Nebbiolo grape. It doesn't contain any other grape varietals. And for it to become a Barolo, essentially there's an aging process. So today we're drinking a 2015. In order for it to go from Nebbiolo grape to a Barolo, it needs to be aged for a minimum of 38 months. Of those 38 months, 18 of those months need to be in some sort of oak. In this case, they are in new French oak for that minimum period of 18 months. And then I guess we can get into a little bit of the profile here. So on the nose, you get that leathery, small red fruits like raspberries and cherries, a little bit of oak and tobacco, and then a little leatheriness maybe. And then in the mouth, you're going to get some black plums, some licorice, a little bit of spice, some earthy tones, some earth spices. It's very structured and has some softer tannins. Normally, Barolos are a little more astringent and very acidic, which is why you want to either age them longer or have them decant for a few hours before you enjoy them. But because this is a 2015 and this is kind of a lower end Barolo in the grand scheme of things, it is ready to drink. Needs a little bit of airing out, but once you're pairing it with especially a fatty food like the osso bucco, it's going to come through really, really well and pair up nicely. Other than that, I'm not sure if there's much more I can tell you. It is a dry wine, 4 grams of sugar. It sells for $30 at the LCBO. So I noticed one of our guests picked up the Fantina Frida. I believe that's $33. So we have you beat on the price point. It did receive 91 points. So it is showing very well. And this wine, fun thing about Barolo is even if you buy it today, you can lay this down in your cellar. And if you choose to buy a case, you can almost do a different bottle every 6 months or every year and see how that wine develops and changes over time.
So, and one thing I'll add, a couple things I'll add to this, but one was, so when I saw this Barolo at the LCBO, and then, and it was price point to start with, and then I checked to see who the agent was, and it was one of our agents, which is awesome. And then I went, okay, I'm skeptical of a $30 Barolo. So I had Lorraine, who's Italian and a big red wine drinker, go pick up a bottle, and together we tried it before I would recommend it for tonight's meeting. And we looked at each other and went, oh my goodness, like this is the best value Barolo like around. But it does need, decanting or airing or whatever, and you can lay it down for a while. So anyway, that's why we chose it. It was funny happenstance. Like we chose the wine, found it was one of our agents, tasted it before we were sure, and then said, hey, think this is the wine for the osso bucco tonight. So it was like a month's process before we came to this. But anyway, I definitely get it again.
So Andre, here's my dumb question. Does this region only make Barolo? Is this all that they do?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Generally, it would be Barolos and Barbarescos. Barbaresco is very similar. It's just a little bit more ready to drink and a little less astringent. The aging process is a little different, but it is also produced by that Nebbiolo grape. And then they do produce white wines in the region as well. But this and Barbaresco are definitely your most prominent from the region, and that's what it's mostly known for.
Yeah.
And can we get it here in little tiny Burlington, Ontario?
Yeah, of course. I was actually in Burlington today, and there are a few stores. So one thing with the LCBO, especially during COVID and especially during the holidays, before you leave the house, just Google it. Go on the LCBO website or use their app and just double check to see what your nearest store is for all the products you're shopping for. And save yourself the hassle of having to either wait in line. Another alternative would be you can order the wines directly to your home, or you can order them to the store. But it depends on what Teresa is going to do for this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, so Andre, so we'll put out an order form afterwards if anybody's interested, and you'll be able to ship to Maryland's, right?
Yeah, that's fine. And if anybody would like full cases of anything, we can ship directly to your home.
Their place? Okay.
Yep. There's a $15 surcharge for shipping, just because of the cost of it coming from Toronto. But we have so many products to choose from, and we also offer mixed packs now, so you can choose from a variety of things. So if anybody's interested, you're welcome to send me an email or send Teresa an email, and we can chat further.
Yeah, so we'll send out an order form at the end of this, and if anybody wants any of the 3 wines, you just let us know, and then we'll figure it out. And you'll probably pick it up from Maryland's unless you're ordering a whole case.
Right.
Anyway, has anybody tried the Barolo with the osso bucco?
Mm-hmm.
And
awesome.
yeah.
you can use your reactions. Let me see. I have a chat here.
Oh yeah, there's 6 on chat.
Just
And all the speakers have finished, so we can probably unmute everybody.
so I'm just suggesting, and thank you for this, Andre. I'm just suggesting that our rallying cry for 2020 should be Viam Vita Est. Wine is life. It's what's kept us all together since March the 12th.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great.
So Teresa, we have a question. What's the process for you to know who an agent is for a particular wine? Can you reveal some of that behind baseball?
Actually, it's not a perfect science. And I'm trying to get better at it. So actually, since we've been virtual, it's easier for me because I actually have Eventbrite lists with all the wines and all the agents. And I just go back to previous meetings and I can look up all the wines. Prior to that, we have a giant spreadsheet with all the agents and all the wines, but it's a little bit more cumbersome. So Angela and Marilyn and I have actually been talking about, like, how do we facilitate repeat orders more easily?
Mm-hmm.
So people say to me, hey, I had this wine, I want another case. And I go, I can't remember which agent had this wine and whatever. So some of it, like, send me what you want. Sometimes it's easy to find and sometimes it's not. And that's something that over the next couple of months, we're trying to, like, get automated.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say. We actually have all the information on all the agents and all the wines and all the wine orders, but some of it's paper, some of it's electronic, some of it's whatever. So it's not always easy to find, but we're working on pulling it all together. We had no idea this was going to go on so long or be so good.
Well, now that our agency has Lifford Wines, all of ours are in one place for you now, so it makes life a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
So there is a question.
They have a huge portfolio now.
There is a question for Andre. Since Barolo is based in the Nebbiolo grape, how does it differ from other wines with the same grape from other regions? So we're using the same varietal, but it's coming from different regions. So how does Barolo express itself differently?
That's a great question. Basically, I mean, Nebbiolo is a pretty Italian grape. I think it's straight native to Italy. So there aren't very many other growing regions that produce Barolo. Well, not Barolo, but Nebbiolo in general. But Barolo is very, very specific because of their rules and their laws and their aging regulations and things like that. But like Teresa, that's almost more of a question for you when it comes to region. Yeah.
So it's the terroir. So it's the particular soil, the conditions, the climate, everything else that produces Barolo in that area. And unlike many of the French grapes, which have been transported all over the world, one of the only other regions that makes a fair bit of Nebbiolo is Australia. But theirs is very different. Like it doesn't taste the same. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not. But Barolo is Barolo because it's that grape in that region, and same as Champagne is Champagne.
Yeah.
So Martin is letting us know that the grape has been grown in Niagara by Ridgepoint. Not sure if it's still happening. So as you're pointing out, Teresa, put the grape in whatever ground you want, but you're not necessarily getting a Barolo. So
exactly.
So I wonder what Ridgepoint would call theirs, call that wine when they plant that same grape.
So you would probably deem it a Nebbiolo. of
Yeah.
a certain region. So like outside of Barolo, outside of that growing region, there's a fringe of growers that grow Nebbiolo, but they're unable to put Barolo or Barbaresco on their labels. It would be Nebbiolo of Langay, I think, would be basically the region around Barolo and Barbaresco. So that's how they would have to label their bottles. They wouldn't be able to carry the Barolo Barbaresco.
So, and you have to remember, Barolo is a region.
Yeah.
It's a physical region. So it would be like Collingwood Winery deciding to make wine and calling it Niagara Wines. That's not allowed. So a Nebbiolo, the same grape grown in Niagara, can't call it Barolo because Barolo is a place. Okay, so you can't grow wines in Burlington and call them Niagara wines.
But it would be an interesting comparison to take the same grape from the Niagara region, if it's still grown there, and compare
Absolutely.
just to say, well, here's the king and here's where in the New World.
Absolutely. And those kinds of comparisons are fun, awesome. Like I live for those.
Especially if they were to age it in the exact same requirements as the original Barolo, it would be even cooler.
Yes. So, and I would argue Barolo's not, or Nebbiolo is not there yet in Niagara or any other region, but we do it with Pinot Noirs because Niagara Pinot Noirs Thomas Bachelder, Pinot Noir from Niagara, from Oregon, he makes them from Burgundy grapes, and he was trained in Burgundy, and that comparison is awesome, right? And it's pure terroir. It's the same winemaker, it's the same year, it's the same grape, but it's different terroir, and that's fun. So I don't think we're mature enough. I mean, we can do it with Nebbiolo. I don't think we're mature enough to have a proper comparison with Barolo, but I mean, we could do it, but we would be at a disadvantage, or Niagara would be at a disadvantage.
For sure.
Anyway, my humble opinion. Not that
But-
I'm
but
opinionated
but
at all.
This grape sounds like it has some heritage, some vintage. So it on its own, notwithstanding,
Absolutely.
you can move it to Victoria in Australia, or you could move it to the Alsace in Germany. Like, notwithstanding its ability to withstand that, it sounds like it's a hardy, a grape that has some longevity. It just hasn't necessarily found its place in other regions.
No, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. Actually, that's an interesting thought, because all the French grapes have migrated.
Yes.
It's probably due to that
grape,
history,
and it's a high-end grape. It's but it hasn't migrated all that well. Question is why, and it must be climate. Anyway, I don't know the answer, but
Ray, do you have an opinion on why it's
interesting.
migrated?
Well,
Pardon?
the cost too of aging this wine is not a cheap process if you were to try and do it in a similar way, because I mean, we're drinking a 5, almost 6-year-old wine right now, and it's just being opened and being shipped, right?
And it's young.
And it's young. It
And
could
that's
sit
and
down
it's
for
a young
another
one.
5 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And this is really good quality, good value wine, but it's a low end Barolo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's sorry, and I don't mean that in an offensive way
Not at all.
at all. But it's still, you have to decant it. You have to or open it, and it will last. And that's everything goes up from here.
Yep.
Anyway.
Any other
Oh,
questions
I
at all?
talk too much.
Well, we're learning a lot. So
Yeah.
thank you, Andre, for being with us. That was great of you to jump on the call.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mhm.
Really appreciate being here, guys. So if you have any other questions, please send them to Teresa. Happy to answer them. Otherwise, yeah, if anybody needs anything, please let me know.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And if anybody likes the wine and wants to place an order, we'll have an order form out for you for all the wines.
Oh, one more.
You should probably decant this for maybe like between 48 hours to, 45 minutes to 2 hours. Sorry.
Good.
Yeah, 45 hours would be a little too long.
Yeah, a little too long.
I'm opening it in the car. On the way home.
Oh, no. You'll get arrested.
It's gonna start. I want it on Friday. I'm gonna be opening it in the car. No, so yeah, 45 minutes to an hour before you want to enjoy it.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So anyway, Marilyn, what do you think? Shall we unmute everybody and people can comment on the meals or just chat with each other or whatever? What do you think?
Before we do that,
Okay.
it is our custom, if you are comfortable to share your screen, it is your custom to do a cheers,
Do an ending.
and we're at that
Yes.
point in the year where we want to do that. So, and then I do a group shot. So,
All right.
unrelease your video if you're willing to do that, and put your glass, and I will give you a 5-second countdown. So everyone I'm going to count you down in 5, and we're going to do a cheers with your happiest smile and your beverage. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers.
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 Oh, thank you. Thank you. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, however you celebrate in your household. All right, Teresa, back to you.
Okay. It's not a perfect system, folks.
But the thing is, we make
Okay.
new and different mistakes every time. That's the important thing. We don't repeat our mistakes.
Okay. So Maggie and Andre, I think Maggie, you're still there, and Andre, yeah, I can see you. Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. And if anybody has additional questions for either one of them, send them through chat, send them to me, to whatever, and we'll get back to you. And if anybody wants recipes or is requesting recipes, let us know, and Maggie will put them up on her website.
Oh, good.
Marilyn, thank you so much. You just keep me under control and manage the whole process. I love it. So if you want to buy some wines, we will send out an order form, the Viennese Sparkling Rosé, Inniskillen P3, and the Barolo. And in addition to that, check the promotions page for additional specials from our partners. Next meeting is going to be January. Not sure who's coming yet. Working on that. But we don't have anything planned until then. If we do come up with something, or we're thinking of something, or if you guys have some ideas, let me know. Oh my goodness, there's a giant cat walking across my fence, distracting me. Anyway, how about, unless you guys have questions or whatever, how about we unmute and you can talk to each other, tell us about your meal, whatever.
Well, I thought it was over.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to jump off the call, but thank you again so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks so much for coming, Andre.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
And the Barolo's not too shabby.
I'm glad you liked it.
Great.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
Maggie's dinner was delicious. We're just on the now. It's fantastic.
I think she's gone.
Vele, young
Gone?
Is Maggie gone as well?
Well, she did volunteer. She drank all the wines before the meeting.
Too funny.
Maggie, we want the ossobuco recipe.
Yeah.
The ossobuco recipe? Okay. Not the carrot ossobuco, the real ossobuco.
It'll be on Maggie's website. She
Okay.
to do that.
No. We have to request them, Marilyn. It's very specific. She's only going to post them if they're requested. So I would like somebody to request each of the recipes.
Okay.
I'll take the dessert.
My
But
misunderstanding.
everything was delicious, so
Okay, yes.
So I want to hear, I'm not putting you on the spot, Paula, but this was a little bit of an unusual meeting for us, but it's certainly your first, and we hope that you enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
I did, and I just sent Maggie a message actually because I connected with her on Facebook through a friend. And yeah, no, thank you for letting us join you. And I guess you explained the format because I was a little out to lunch on what was going to happen, but the meal was awesome, and the talk about the wines. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, good. So join us in January, either as a guest, you're welcome to become a member, but if you want to see a regular meeting,
Yeah.
join us in January.
Okay.
Check out the normal meeting and
All right.
pick up a kit and then decide whether or not you'd like to join us.
Perfect. Thank you. I was going to ask how to become. How many are you from Burlington and have been in this group for a long time?
So we have 100 members altogether, but and month to month virtually, we typically get about 60 people out, and we have kind of a core group and from Burlington, Oakville area.
So a normal meeting, Paula, is a flight of 3 whites and a flight of 3 reds, and smaller tastings to match each of those that are procured and given to us by Teresa. So the kit that you got tonight was replacing a meal for 2 people, 4-course meal. But when you would come in January or February, you get a smaller bag with smaller bites, but an opportunity to purchase 5 or 6 wines at a nice price to be able to match to all of those. And
Oh, okay, great.
yeah.
And Marilyn said, it's my kitchen, but Carl and Anne come out. Kathy's there as well. She's one of my cooks, Dorothy. So I have a team of about 5 people that help me do all the food.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's been interesting and challenging through COVID and for the virtual. But anyway, we've managed.
We're getting used to chopping things in the cold weather.
That's
Outside.
right.
Yes.
That's
Up
right.
until now, everybody's had their own table outside
Yeah.
Okay.
to do things. Yeah. So
Oh,
It's been great.
Good.
yeah,
And
it's been okay. Eh?
It's been
Yep.
fun. It's been
No
great.
problem.
And the great thing is we put the recording on the YouTube channel within about 3 or 4 days. So if you happen to be home and there's 6 wines and there's 2 of you, it's not possible really to open them all that night. So you can just open the ones you want and then come back and then experience it again with the same kinds of, the food pairings are not, you've got to go to some foreign grocery store to get the ingredients. You could recreate that night over and over again for the rest of the month until the next one. So that's been our model at this point. So people can hear the
We're strange.
Everybody's strange. It's all good. Open them all.
But you know what? It's a really, really good group of people, Paula.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I love all the people that join us.
Mhm.
Like they're just great. Really, really good people. Anyway, so
Yeah, and we're not snobby. We learn a lot.
oh yes, we're terribly pretentious.
During COVID.
Especially during COVID. We're trying to make a good impression. Paula's new.
Bill, did you say you're from Wellington, Wing? Or you were somebody was talking about Wellington earlier. Is he gone?
Dale. Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Fergus.
Fergus. Okay, we have a trailer at Pike Lake in Mount Forest.
Oh, okay. My son actually works in Mount Forest, so.
Oh, okay. Not at Pike Lake.
So, yeah, I've been with the Burlington Wine Club since the beginning, and moved up here 3.5 years ago. But the Burlington Wine Club is way too much fun to not continue.
That's
But
good
he
to know.
commutes from Fergus. Like
From
he
Fergus,
picked
he
up
comes in.
his food thing today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And we have a few people that go to cottage country in the summer, like from June to September, but come back once a month just for the Burlington Wine Club.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And at the height of the summer, Mia was the leader in the clubhouse in the summer. She had 8 guests come to her backyard. So they ordered 8 meal kits and they opened up all the wines. So there were 6 wines, 8 people. And that's exactly the kind of experience that can happen in the summertime. And I laugh when you say immediately, because today's American Thanksgiving and Americans say, do you know Dale from Fergus? And we go, oh, sure we do. That's exactly what happens. Oh yeah, I got a son. He worked. Canadians are so funny, right? You all know each other. We're 33 million people, but we all know each other.
Degrees of separation.
So funny. So yeah, it's just awesome that we've been able to stay together since March when many, many, many other things have folded. So.
And when we finally get back together in person, hopefully next September,
Oh my goodness.
The hugs and the crying.
The crying.
I'll just start at 4 because they'll be hugging until 6.
Yeah, but in September we're going to be in
We're hoping we're going to Portugal, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you rebooked?
No, not yet.
No. Okay. Good.
Keep your fingers
Poor Carl. Yeah.
well.
So, 2021, if we can, September 2021, if we can do it, I'll book Portugal, but I'm not,
We'll see. It's early.
We'll see. I'm not booking it yet.
No. Too soon.
No.
But I am hopeful for summer barbecues.
And maybe some theme nights. So maybe some wine club nights become thematic.
Right.
Yeah. And also, actually, so on a more serious note, I think we're going to be we're going to be virtual for the next 6 months or so.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not planning to do anything for December. We've always taken December off. We just kind of regroup and relax and figure out the next year. But if anybody has any ideas from January to June in terms of things you'd like to do, whether it's a restaurant dinner, like we're going to do the Burlington Wine Club last Thursday of the month consistently, but we're thinking of doing an additional like Valentine's night chocolate and wine pairing.
Great idea.
Something, yeah. So if you have any other ideas of what we can do, what we can organize, I'm happy to organize. Okay. And Marilyn's always by my side.
So Valentine's is Sunday.
Like we want to make things. We're going into a winter period, right? That's not good. We don't have the outdoors. Lots of issues.
Yeah.
How can we make life better? What can we do? What can we organize? What virtual things can we do that would appeal to you or make your life easier? Okay. Send us ideas. Okay.
So Valentine's is a Sunday. So there's a potential to do something on the 13th, the Saturday.
Yep.
That would maybe engage,
Yep.
young
so we can do a virtual dinner. We can do chocolate pairing. We can do let me know what you guys would like. Okay. And we'll organize it. Okay. Because we're like, I want to make this winter better for everybody.
So,
okay.
Marilyn, with regard to Big Mike, who you might know just a little bit, can he do anything with regard to Valentine's?
You're asking if
in terms of the dinner?
You're asking if Chef Mike can
Absolutely.
do anything?
Yeah, does he have the wherewithal, that romantic leap of imagination that he can get together a meal for us?
So
with some wonderful wines.
So Carl, you're so kind to ask, given that you've seen Mike for 7 days in Tuscany. And I have regrettably over 21 years been known to volunteer my husband for things before I ask him. So let's just say, sure.
And I have heaters in my backyard, and we're already thinking February.
Well,
I know. We
Well-
know. We've been around your heaters.
yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah,
But
sounds
given
good.
our situation, but if we can do this, Valentine's would be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Valentine's for sure.
I don't know.
So Valentine's dinner, as opposed to just a chocolate and wine pairing, but a Valentine's dinner.
I would like
Definitely to be
chocolate
picked
has-
up, like the bags today.
Yeah.
that was
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
The meal tonight was really wonderful.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So Teresa introduced us to the to another club, and so Chef Mike did a 3-course, and it came in a box that's a pizza-sized box, about double deep, and we did a vegetable terrine, which was quite spectacular. If I could remember what the protein was, that would be so much better off. But it was a 3-course
It
meal,
was really good.
and there's
3-course meal. Yeah.
if I can remember.
And then I
Oh,
think
was
you
it,
threw in a dessert and.
Yeah, well,
something.
then we threw in the chocolate pot creme. Was it the chicken? I can't remember what it was. But yeah,
Creme brulee.
there's no, we did a chocolate pot of creme for the
That'd be nice.
for the kit.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, so we can do, like, we can organize, if anybody's interested in dinners or whatever, or.
Coco vin
Yeah.
would be very nice.
Oh, it was coq au vin, yeah.
Nice French theme. Coco vin, creme brulee, not creme brulee, no, because the sugar won't last. But the pot of creme, the chocolate pot of creme,
Yeah.
will certainly last. He's done a beautiful fennel and blood orange salad that would last very well, very French. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just go downstairs with another bottle of wine in my hand and ask him.
And he'll say.
But
yes.
anyway, so like send the ideas on.
Valentine's Day is the month.
So you know what? We've got, it's November,
Feels like a long
end
time.
of February. It's going to be cold till the end of February.
No.
You reckon?
And we're all kind of in lockdown,
Hunkered
or,
down.
you know, for a better phrase. Talk to me, send me ideas. What can we do as a group, individually, small groups, whatever, just to survive this, to make this better. Okay?
I need a pillow. So Sue Thompson, I need a pillow that says Vienam Beta Est.
Yes.
I like.
Wine is life. I like that.
I know.
What?
Yeah, you're muted, but Sue, but we know that you can help us with that. So Sue has a business where you can create decor items, repeatable decor items, but also a pillow, I think, is a permanent pillow.
Teresa can do those.
Yep.
So, all right, friends, that being now nearly 8:30, I'm going to stop the recording and jump off because I have to go coerce a chef into doing something.
Bye,
Stay
Marilyn.
well, stay safe. Happy New Year.
No ideas. Yep.
Thanks
All
for
right.
organizing everything. And
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.